All right, let's talk about this shit, man. This shit is crazy. Okay, so there's two sides of the story. You know, there's the story, and then there's everybody's fucking reaction to the story, which of course was super normal because it's the fucking internet. So, Forbes. Y'all ever hear of Forbes? You know about Forbes? They're like into finances and shit, man. They're like pretty good at that. That's like kind of like what they do. Well, they recently did a big article about Superman. I'm not going to go over the whole article for you. I tell you what, I'll pull it up, though, so that you can just see what the F I'm actually talking about here. James Gunn's Superman ends its theatrical run. How much did it make? And there's a lot of different aspects to the story, ins and outs, but this is the part that a lot of people are focusing on. Basically talking about how it's very unlikely that the movie made money in its theatrical run, before ultimately saying that it's hard to say whether or not the movie made any money at all because there's a lot of other factors. But it does sort of put forward that it's very unlikely that the movie made money in theaters, but it probably made money through other means, right? Like the ancillary materials, different promotional things that they did, etc., etc. And so this article is out there and people are talking about it, all right? And so I brought this up, of course, and the way I'm understanding this, the way I'm interpreting this, is that Forbes, and by the way, Forbes kind of has a history of doing this. We've been discussing a lot of the different movies this year, and usually you have the studio itself come out and say, like, hey, this movie needs to make this amount, right? And then they all kind of call their shot this year. And then we have, you know, all the various articles that come out as the movie's making money. And then what happened this year, especially with Superman in particular, was after the theatrical run ended, you had, in the Hollywood trades, they talked about this number, $125 million. Do you guys remember this? $125 million. And I remember when that number came out, we discussed it, and I said, look, I don't know, this feels shady, you know, I don't know that this is the way, the actual number here, but they wouldn't be able to just report this unless there was some truth to it. So from a certain perspective here, $125 million is what Superman made. Now, it would appear that when Warner Bros. Came out with that number, really that's like not actually theatrical money. Maybe like 20 million of that is theatrical money. Most of that is through ancillary materials. Now, that was illuminated for us by Jeff Snyder. Jeff Snyder, you know, takes this and, you know, kind of breaks it down for people. And I think a lot of people were giving him shit, particularly about the Superman stuff. So Jeff is more than happy to, like, set people straight and explain that that $125 million number is not real. That most of that is coming from outside of the actual theatrical run here, which seems to be corroborated by the reporting that Forbes just did. Okay, so ultimately, like, what's really happening here is we have the life cycle of this movie. We have all the usual parts. We have all the bells and whistles. And just like many other movies over the past couple of years, and usually Forbes has been taking aim at Marvel quite a bit over the past couple of years. But also, you know, Star Wars and the Star Wars shows and, you know, the proposed budgets and the expenses of these different shows. And here, ultimately, of course, yes, taking aim at Warner Brothers and James Gunn. But it seems that this pattern just kind of holds true, at least over the past couple of years, with basically all of these big IP movies. Meaning, it's usually around this time that Forbes comes out and kind of tells us the tea. Kind of spills the real tea about the finances here. And how basically none of these movies are, like, making money. And so, just like many other times, Forbes is now kind of coming with receipts and doing their financial reporting here and sort of telling a more accurate version of the story. This isn't the Hollywood trade version of the story. This is the Forbes version of the story. This is a more accurate look at the actual financials here. Now, what does it all mean, man? And this is where it gets me into, like, the second part of this story, because, of course, you know, so many people acted so completely fucking normal about this. I mean, this tweet, you know, it's not even like a huge tweet for me, right? But the same old kind of stuff that always happens when I talk about this stuff. 200 retweets on this tweet, and a lot of them are people that are really mad or want to say that Gunn should be fired. So there's a bunch of Gunn fans that are like, you know, you're stirring up trouble again, or being a butthole. And there's a bunch of Snyder bros that are saying, like, oh, it's Jover, Gunn should be replaced, Gunn should be fired. I mean, the reality is no. What this says, though, because this does matter, it's not a fugazi, it's not a nothing burger. This is a good data point. This is a good part of the sense-making apparatus for pop culture these days in Forbes, breaking down the reality of the financials for this film. We should take this and put it into our brain parts and have a better understanding of what exactly happened with this movie, what were the costs, and how much money it made. Ultimately, I think what this does to inform us as nerds, outside of just being interested in it, is it gives us a temperature. It gives us a report card for what Gunn's DCU is up to. And I think, as many people tried to point out in the wake of Superman, I think good enough is the answer, but not a huge hit. This is not a smash success. We're not off to the races here. And there's a lot of questions about how DC will actually be able to pull this off. I mean, I frankly think that they wanted way more. I think they should have gotten way more. And I think the most important thing to realize is they need to make way more in the future. There is no way they can sustain this cinematic universe at putting stuff out that goes to a loss in the theaters, that then you must use like residuals and ancillaries and weird accounting tricks and all this sort of stuff to make a profit. That's not a sustainable future. What this indicates is that the DCU, while off to a start, is not off to the races. It needs to do better. It needs to consider what aspects of Superman perhaps prevented it from being able to perform a bit better. It needs to, look at the landscape of entertainment in general, and also Hollywood, genre, streaming, and all that sort of stuff. And it needs to make better decisions because it must do better going from here. And look, man, I got to tell you, looking at the future here, looking at Supergirl, looking at Lanterns, looking at Clayface, and then realizing that the Batman Part 2 is probably not until 2027, and Brave and the Bold, the DCU Batman, is very likely not until 2028, maybe even 2029. That's just like not super great. You know what I mean? That's just not super great. And so, although this is somewhat of a predictable part of this news cycle, and it's just like, okay, we have some official reporting here for Forbes, we kind of put it out there. I think that it is like the reason this has popped off so much. Maybe it always was going to be of great interest because it is a new universe and Warner Brothers is in such an interesting spot trying to sell and stuff like that. But I really do think that, a bit of the sort of divided DC base is coming out here. Like, it shouldn't actually be that crazy to come out and be like, Superman did good enough, but like everything has to do a lot better from here. And like, we hope that it all does better from here. That really shouldn't be that controversial. That shouldn't be that crazy to say. And yet when you say that, what it feels like to me, I experience is a whole bunch of people on this side that are like, Gunn needs to go, fuck this. And then a whole bunch of people on the other side that are like, no, this is so good. How dare you bring up any reality? How dare you besmirch this grand, great, glorious Gunn verse that we now love and have? It's like, guys, grow up. We should be able to talk about our fictional bullshit, fake ass, comic book universes with a little bit more, nuance. Like, it's fine, but it's not crushing it. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, guys. For some of you guys, you're probably like, yeah, goddamn, I'm sick of talking about Superman's box office. However, it does actually matter because the Forbes thing is important. So, with that being said, what do you guys make of this, man? What do you make of this? You say, no, Forbes, it can't be. Forbes did shock the dog? Did Forbes not shock the dog? I don't know. All facts, no fiction. Hell yeah. I want it to end. Peacemaker just can't hold my interest for a third season. I don't think Peacemaker is going to have a third season, to be honest with you. Yeah. Bro, the thumbnail is classic. Thanks, man. Glad you like it. In my opinion, the market has been severely damaged since Man of Steel, so comparing them theatrically is pointless. Additionally, Superman has been S-tier hero in normies for decades. I don't think the comparison is pointless at all. Because really, like I understand the spirit of what you're saying, but ultimately, like, it should be commercially viable. Like you get the Marvel guy and it's Superman and it's the DCU. It should be commercially viable. Superman should have done way better than it did. And I think they should take a harsh look at this. I think they should be like, you know what is the problem here? You know what I mean? Like because here's what's scary about it, right? Here's what's scary about it. Supergirl, like, I don't know if you can get more derivative of Superman than Supergirl in concept. Like, I know that the Supergirl movie is not just going to be a derivative Superman movie. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is just in the sense of, like, if you vaguely know that there was a Superman movie and then somebody tells you the next one is a Supergirl movie, I literally do not know how, like, that is so derivative that I find it it's hard to imagine the Supergirl movie doing a lot better than Superman without some other thing happening, meaning an incredible marketing campaign. The first trailer fucking smashes. Momoa's Lobo is hot shit and everybody loves it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing cannot just be and expect to do better than Superman. So from that perspective, it gets really concerning when you look at this and you're like, damn, like, we're going from Superman movie that literally didn't make money in the theaters to Supergirl, and I just don't know how that's actually going to translate into like a lot of box office and a lot of hype and generating a lot of excitement for the fans. We'll see. It's all about the marketing for it. But I don't think that's unfair at all. I think anybody that's being reasonable could see why I would be a little concerned. Lobo in Supergirl, right? I believe so. Yeah. And I think that's going to be awesome. And maybe Lobo's the huge draw. Like, maybe Lobo is the Crypto, or maybe they just think Crypto. Because here's the thing, like, Crypto was cool, and I think people like Crypto, but Crypto wasn't enough to get to Man of Steel numbers. You know what I mean? Like, Crypto wasn't enough to get this thing profitable in theaters. So I don't know that Crypto would be enough to, push Supergirl. Josh wants $500 billion for every movie. No, I don't want $500 billion for every movie, but I think that if you're relaunching, or if you're launching a new cinematic universe, right? And you're putting like all of your money behind that, I think the thing needs to grow and get more successful and build off of itself. Like, part of why Superman is okay is because it is the start. And I do give it a pass in a lot of ways for being the start. But it's like, no, let's not get that twisted and say that it's just hunky-dory and it's fine. Like, that's what I'm saying, is like, this Gunn thing is like, the reason it's a little bit worrying, right, is because it feels like Gunn doesn't listen to anybody. And it feels like he's just hyper fixated on like his shit, his road or the highway. He loves the obscure characters. He loves the goofy sensibilities. He loves this, that, second, and the third. And it's like, is anybody over there being like, hey, James, what if like this isn't the way to do it? You know what I mean? And I worry that he's not receiving the right feedback. Like, are there people over there that are like, hey, just so you know, like, Crypto wasn't enough to get to Man of Steel's box office? Like, has anybody had that conversation with him? Lobo is probably better to use than Crypto. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I mean? So, like, I think there's plenty of reason to be concerned about this shit, bruh. Yeah, exactly. He's not getting the right amount of pushback. Exactly, yeah. Candace for Storm? Hell yeah. Let's start that. Also, you're going to get me canceled, but I'm about it. Josh hates dogs, confirmed. No, what? I don't hate dogs. I'm not that monster Hassan that was waterboarding dogs just off stream. They really need a good DC Batman movie to get the general audience hooked. Yeah. It's going to be really hard to build up a second Batman movie that, by all accounts, is absolutely fucking incredible, right? Like, we've heard this Matt Reeves Batman movie's titties. So imagine like they're building up this incredible Batman that's like titties. And then like they also have to kind of build up the one in the DCU. Like, I just don't know, man. I just don't know. Yeah. And it's like, bro, like, guys, I'm telling you, these DC fans are so crazy. Like, dude, 200 fucking quote tweets here. Like, look, let's view these quotes, dude. Like, look at this. Look at this. This is crazy. Like, this guy's like very anti, right? This guy's anti. This guy's anti. Wow, a lot of antis. And then this guy's like, wah, wah, like I'm crying. 200 of these, dude. 200 of these. Like this guy's like, these dumb cunts. Because it's dog shit. 200 of these, dude. Yeah, I don't trust Forbes' accounting of things due to approaches that they take for reporting this shit. What are you talking about, dude? Like, what the fuck? Josh spreading more information, LOL. He's salty. Superman made a profit. Don't believe his lies. 200 of these. 200 of these, dude. Jesus Christ. I need a vacation. Let's see here. Benjamin says $5 that Supergirl outperforms Superman. I'll take that bet, Ben. Superman's streaming numbers will help though. I think Superman's doing decent. Like everybody gets all twisted, man. I'm not saying it's like in bad shape. I'm sure it's doing fine. But like it has to do better. They have to build. And I think they should adjust. I think they should fix some of these fucking mistakes, dude. I think they should fix some of these mistakes. You know what? I'll just add this part to this segment here because it's just kind of interesting. Because Warner Brothers, like a lot of the news right now for this whole thing is kind of surrounding the Warner Brothers sale, right? And by the way, big time rumors that there might be a collaborator with Paramount to get to the $60 billion. But check this out. Exactly a year ago, Warner Brothers Pictures CEO Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi saw their crisis kick off after Joker Folie à Deux faced a disastrous debut weekend before another several since Furiosa's numbers at the box office. Today, exactly a year later, both of them are in honeymoon mode with their boss, David Zaslav, who announced that their contracts have just been renewed. So isn't that crazy how much a time like difference a year makes, man? We were legitimately talking about stories late last year when this was going on, when Joker 2 was bombing, that maybe Gunn was going to become in charge of everything. That DeLuca and Abdi might get fired and Gunn might be in charge of everything. Y'all remember that shit? Just kind of crazy. So it's wild how all of this happens. But again, they have their contract extended. Do you know what this means? This means they're going to continue to have purview with the Batman and not Gunn. I can't fucking believe it, dude. That is so crazy. I wonder how Gunn's feeling today about this. This is pretty wild. Pretty wild. Anyway. Minecraft Sinner's weapon saved them. It did. Yeah, no, absolutely. They're on a crazy run right now. Absolutely. No contract renewal for Gunn. You know, I'm actually not sure about that. That's a good question because I know his contract. I think he did get a contract extension. I'm actually not sure about that, but I would imagine he did. Show us more minis. Oh, the minis are in the next room though. Yeah. I tried to ask you about the Wolverine actor in the PS5 game, possibly playing Wolverine in the last MCU stream. I think that would be great, but I haven't heard anything about that, and I highly doubt that's happening, man. Just doesn't seem like they're what they're going for right now. But, yeah, kind of cool. Okay, well, that'll do it on this whole DC debacle. Oh, my God, fire James Gunn, and also it's all fake news. James Gunn, Superman 2025 to the moon.